All right, let's go ahead and go over this. For problem number 1, it says for Mother's Day, you're taking your mom out for lunch. Lunch special is $24.99 and a drink is $1.50. Tax is 6% and you tip 25%. So we want to know what is the final cost of the meal. So this happens to match that scenario A that I have written up on the board where you're doing tax and tip, which means that you have to add your tax percentage and your tip percentage together. Y'all's computers should be closed. You don't need them open. So we know that we're going to add our tax and our tip together. So tax percentage, which was 6%, is going to get added with your tip percentage, which was at 25%. And that means that we're dealing with a 31%. Okay, that's going to be our new percentage. That's our new percentage that we're going to be dealing with. Now, we also need to identify the whole because the whole is a little bit different. For the whole, which is all the money that you're going to be spending, you're spending $24.99 and $1.50 per person. So how many people are there? 2, right? You and your mother. You're taking you and your mother out. So when we're figuring out the whole, I'm going to do that off to the side, we're going to add $24.99 plus that $1.50, and we're going to multiply this by 2. Right? We're adding $24.99 and $1.50 to figure out how much it's going to be per person, and then we have 2 people, so we're going to multiply it by 2. That's going to come out to $52.98 for the meal. $52.98 for the meal. So now we just follow the different steps. So remember, this was step 1. Step 1 was to find out what our new percentage was. We found out our new percent. Okay. Step 2 is to set up that proportion. So our second step, we're going to set up the proportion where we're going to do X over the cost, the money, which was $52.98, is equal to our new percentage, which was 31%, out of 100. And then we're going to go ahead and solve for X. So we just do our cross product. We're going to multiply and multiply. This gives us 100X is now equal to 1,642.38. And then we go ahead and divide. We're going to divide both sides by 100. And you're going to have to estimate this because remember we're talking about money, so you need to round it to the nearest penny. This is going to come out to about $16.42. Right? You can't have a whole bunch of numbers after that because it's money. This represents your tip and your tax. What do we do with tip and tax? Add. Add it to what? What are we going to add it to? The original amount of money, right? We're going to add it to whatever the original amount of money was, which was right here. This is the original amount of money. So for the third step, we're going to take what the original amount of money was, which was $52.98, and we're going to add the value of X, which was the tip and tax. That's $16.42. So we're going to add those values together, and the total cost for the meal is $69.40. $69.40 is your final cost for the entire meal. Okay, let's go on to problem 2. Problem 2, you've got 2 coupons at Macy's. One is for $25 off, and the other is for 25% off. So we want to know if you are spending $42.62 on a sweater, and you're buying 2 pairs of jeans that are $30.65 each, then we want to know which coupon is going to be the better deal. So we already know one of the coupons is $25 that's going to be taken away. So all we have to do is find out what is 25% going to equal as money. If 25% comes out to less than $25, then it's not the good deal. If it comes out to taking more than $25 off, that's the better deal. So the first thing we need to do is figure out how much money. We want to know what is the total amount of money that we're spending. So the total amount of money that we're spending, we're buying one sweater for $42.62. And then how many pairs of jeans are we buying? How many pairs of jeans? 2. 2 pairs of jeans, and they each cost $30.65. So we've got $30.65 and another $30.65. So the total amount of money that we currently are spending is going to come out to $103.92. That's the total amount of money that we have. So now we just have to figure out what is 25% going to look like of that amount of money. So we set it up as X. Remember, it's always X over money. X over money, so X over 103.92 equals our percentage. Our percentage is 25% over 100. And then we do our cross product. So that's going to give us 100X. When we multiply 103.92 times 25, that comes out to 2,598. And then we divide both sides by 100. And we'll get that X is going to come out to $25.98. So which one's the better deal? $25 off or 25% off? Which one's going to take more money off? 25%. The percentage is going to take more off. Okay, so the 25% is better, right? Takes an additional 98 cents off. That 98 cents might not seem like much, but it calculates and adds up. All right, last question. George is purchasing a camera for $650. He's got a coupon for 40% off, and tax is 8%, so we want to know how much is he going to pay for the camera. This is like scenario B right up here. Okay, all of that right here, scenario B, discount and then tax. We're going to do discount, then tax. So we've got to figure it out step by step. Step 1 is to set it up as X over money equals discount percentage over 100. So we're going to do X over our money, which is $650, equals the discount percentage, which was 40, over 100. And then we're going to work it out. That gives us 100X is now equal to 26,000. We would then divide by 100, and we would get that X is going to equal $260. This represents the amount of money that we're going to take off. That represents how much we're going to take off. So then we would go to step 2. Step 2 is to actually take that amount of money off. So we're going to take our $650 and subtract our X value. Subtract the 260. That comes out to 390. This represents our new money. That's our new money. 390 is the new price of the camera. Then we go to the third step. Now we got to figure out what tax is going to be. So we do this process again, but this time with the new money and with tax percentage. So we're going to do X over 390 equals 8% over 100. Do our cross product. We get 100X is equal to, we do 390 times the 8. That comes out to 3,120. Then we divide both sides by 100, and we'll get X is now equal to $31.20. This represents the amount of money that we're going to spend in tax. Then the last step, step 4, is to combine your tax with your new money. So we take our new money of $390, and we're going to add our tax of $31.20. 390 plus 31.20 is going to come out to $421.20 for the camera. Okay? All right. We are starting a new lesson. So we're moving away from tips, tax, and discounts. We're moving on to something that's a little bit more easy, a little more easy. It's the interest, simple interest, and we call this the I-party formula. It's not a party, but it's just the way that it's abbreviated. It looks like I-party. Okay? So what it represents is how you would calculate simple interest. Simple interest is when you are borrowing money from somebody. So like, what are reasons that we might, as adults, what are some reasons as to why we might borrow money from maybe like a bank? Why do we borrow money from banks? What's one reason? A car loan. Okay, so we might need to take out a car loan. What's another thing, George? Okay, well, we typically don't borrow money from the bank to pay our bills. That might be credit cards that we would use, but that's not going to be for bill pay. What do you think, Michael?
Start a business.
Okay, you might want to start a business, get a business loan. Sophia?
House loan.
A house loan. You might want to purchase a home. Okay, so these are things. College funds. You might want to be going to college, so you might take out student loans. So there's all sorts of different reasons as to why we take loans out. But this isn't just calculated for loans, for borrowing money. This is also used to calculate when you earn interest. So when you put money into the bank, into savings accounts or into CDs or different things that are able to calculate or earn you interest, this is also some of the stuff that you can use. Now, this is a very simple formula. It is not the typical formula that's used for most loan purchases or for most savings purchases, but this is the basic idea of how interest would work. So the letter I is going to stand for interest itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight this in purple. This is going to be my purple representation. So you know I like to do everything in colors. So I is going to be in purple, and it stands for the money amount of interest that you earn. So I'm going to put a dollar sign and put interest. It's the money amount of interest that you would earn or that you would have to owe. Okay, P, the letter P, I'm going to go ahead and highlight this in blue. This is going to be in blue. Okay, P stands for what we call principal. Now, this is not like Dr. Baggett principal. This is principal as in money principal. Okay. The principal, that is the money that you borrow. So if you borrow from a bank, or what we call invest, money that you invest or put into an account. So if we have savings accounts, stocks, things of that sort, those are investments. When you borrow so that you can pay for something, that's a loan. Okay, then we've got R. R, I'm going to go ahead and identify that in pink. You know me, I like to have everything in different colors. So R is going to stand for your rate. This is your interest rate. And the way that we calculate the interest rate, it's always a percentage over 100. You're always going to write it as a percentage over 100. And then we've got T. T is going to represent the time. I'm going to put that in green. So T represents the time, and it's really important that you understand it has to be in years. It has to be in years. So when they give you the time frame, okay, you are borrowing this money for 5 years, or you've invested this money for 9 years, time has to be in years. But if I happen to give it to you in months, let's say instead of saying years, I say, oh, you're going to borrow this money for 36 months. You have to change it to years then. So write this down, and I'll zoom in on this so it's a little bit easier for you to see it. But if the time is in months, then you're going to divide it by 12. Because there's 12 months in a year. If the time that they give it to you is in months instead of years, so if they say 36 months, you're going to take 36, you're going to divide it by 12, and that would represent 3 years. Okay, so again, the I-party formula, interest, which is your money amount, is equal to the same thing as taking your principal, which is the money you borrow or invest, multiply it by the rate, which is your percentage over 100, multiplied by time, which has to be in years. If it's not in years, if it's given to you in months, you divide it by 12, and that will put it in form of years. Okay, so it's a very, very simple process. So let's take a look at problem number 1. Liz has an account with $500 that earns 8% simple interest. After 3 years, we want to know how much interest is she going to earn. Okay, so when we fill this information out, I'm going to go ahead and identify what every single variable is. So we have the I party. What is the I? What is the P? What is the R? And what is the T going to look like? We want to write all of that stuff down before we put it into our formula. So going through, $500 is the first thing that I see. It's an account with $500 in it. That represents the amount of money that she's invested. She hasn't borrowed it. It's what she's invested. That's going to be her principal. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that in blue so that I know that that represents the principal. So for P, I'm going to replace that with 500. Then we've got 8%. It earns 8% interest. That is part of our R. Remember, it's a percentage over 100. So you're going to write this as 8 over 100. We always put it as a fraction. 8 over 100, your percentage over 100. She has this account for 3 years. 3 years. That represents the time, and it's already in years. That's important. So I can put 3. Now the question is asking how much interest will she earn? It only wants to know the amount of interest that she's going to earn, which means you're just solving for I. You're just solving for I. We only want the amount of interest that she's going to earn, so we're just solving for I. So remember, our formula is I equals the principal times the rate times the time. So we just need to replace that information with what we know. We know that the principal was 500. We know that the rate is 8 over 100. We know that the time is 3 years. So you just take your calculator and you multiply. You're going to do 500 times 8 over 100. That's going to come out to 40. Then you're going to do 40 times 3, and that comes out to 120. So that's your interest. Your interest is $120. And that's all that they were asking. They just wanted the interest. Now, if the question asked how much is in her account after 3 years, what do you think we would have to do with that interest? Interest is what you earn. What do you think we do with that amount of money? Are we going to add it or subtract it from the account? Add it, right? She's got $500. Now she's earned another $120. You'd add those together if they wanted to know how much does she now have. She would now have 500 plus 120, which is 620. Okay? You have to make sure you read the question carefully, though. You need to be able to distinguish between whether they want the interest only or whether they want the whole entire amount. Okay? Your computers should not be open. Close it all the way. Okay? I went through and closed the computer, so the fact that you reopened it is not a good thing. Number 2, Arnold took out a loan for $580. The interest rate is 3%. If he has the loan for 3 months, how much total will he have to pay back? So how much will he have to pay back? He has to pay back not only the loan, but the interest as well. See, a lot of things that people don't seem to understand is when you take out a loan, the interest sometimes can be just as much as the loan itself. So for example, I took out a student loan my last semester of college. I only needed $5,000. That's all I needed, just $5,000. So I took out a $5,000 loan. I wound up paying back $9,000 total. $5,000 that I borrowed and $4,000 in interest. It was almost the same amount as a loan. Okay? By the time my husband and I are done paying for our house, because we have a 30-year loan, we'll probably be paying close to almost double the amount of what the house was worth, which is insane. So you have to be mindful of how much interest charges. Sometimes the interest that gets you the most is the interest on credit cards. Because on a house or on a car, those interest rates are typically pretty low because they know that they're going to have you for such a long time. So most people take anywhere between 15 to 30 years to pay off a home loan. So they have you for such a long time so they can get away with 2.5% interest or 3% interest. But credit cards, most people that have credit card debt, it's because of the fact that they don't pay attention to the 21% interest rate that they have or 19% interest rate that they have. And if you don't pay off your statement balance every single month, you get charged interest for the entire statement. The entire statement. Even if, let's say that your statement balance was $300 and you paid off $275, so you only owed them an extra $25. You're still going to pay interest on that $300 that you owed them, even though you paid $275 off of it. You're going to pay off the statement because you didn't pay the whole thing entirely. So credit card interest rates are the things that cause the biggest amount of debt because they are the largest interests and they accumulate fast. So be mindful of that. Okay? All right. So coming back to here, again, you're paying not just your loan back, but you're also paying the interest rate back. Let's go ahead and identify everything. Your loan is what you borrowed. That's your principal, $580. So the principal is equal to $580. So we know that we're going to be multiplying 580. Okay, we have an interest rate of 3%. So our R is going to be 3 over 100. Remember, its rate is the percentage over 100. So 3 over 100. You're going to be borrowing for 3 months. 3 months. Now remember, time needs to be in years. Since it was in months, we're going to take this and we're going to divide it by 12. 3 divided by 12, or 3 over 12. That's our time. It's 3 over 12 because it's 3 months out of 12 to represent a year. That would come out to 0.25. Now when we multiply all of that together, that's just going to be equal to the interest. When we multiply all of this together, that's just going to calculate the interest alone. So we're going to do 580 times 3 over 10 times 3 over 12. That's going to come out to $4.35. That's just the interest. We want to know the total amount that he has to pay back. We want the total amount that he has to pay back. So I'm going to do this in orange, not in purple. Purple represents the interest. Orange is going to represent the total. So to calculate the total, we're going to take your principal and you're going to add your interest. To calculate the total, you would take the principal amount, which was 580, and you would add the amount for your interest, which is $4.35. So the total amount of money that he's going to have to wind up paying back is $584.35. Okay, I want you guys to try problem 3 and 4 on your own, please. All right, let's go ahead and go over this. Luis took out a car loan for $5,000. Okay, there's our principal. It's a loan. Anytime we see loans or investments or money that we've put something in, that's going to represent the principal, P, $5,000. Okay? He takes 2 years to pay it off. So there's our time, 2 years, T. And it's in years already, so we don't have to worry about converting it. So that's going to just stay 2. It has an interest rate of 3%. 3%. So remember, we always put the rate over 100. So it's 3 over 100 is going to represent the R, the rate. 3 over 100. Okay, now the question wants to know how much did he pay back? So are we finding interest or are we finding total? So he doesn't have to pay back the loan? Total. Okay, he has to pay the loan and he has to pay the interest, guys. When they're asking how much did he pay back, he has to pay back a total amount. That means interest plus the loan. Interest plus the loan. So the interest right now, when we calculate this, when we do 5,000 times 3 over 100 times 2, that's going to come out to $300. So not only does he have to pay back $5,000, but he also pays back the $300 in interest. So we need to calculate the total. Okay, so the total is going to be that principal, which was 5,000, plus the 300 for the interest. And that's going to come out to 5,300. Please make sure you're paying close attention to whether you're finding interest or whether you're finding a total. All right, number 4, you place $15,000 into a savings account. Okay, so this is not a loan. This is money that you are saving, but it's still considered to be a principal, $15,000. Okay, so you're putting it into an interest rate of 1.3%. 1.3%. So the interest rate, or sorry, not 1.3, 1.5%. So we're going to put 1.5 over 100. 1.5 over 100 is going to be the rate. You're going to do this for a period of 12 years. So your time, T, is going to be 12. We want to know how much money should be in the account at the end of 12 years. How much money should be in the account after 12 years is over? Is that going to be interest alone or is that a total? Total, right? Because you have $15,000 already, then you're going to put some interest into the account as well. So we're looking for a total this time. How much money is going to be in the account after the 12 years is over? That's going to represent a total. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to multiply the 15,000 times the 1.5 over 100 times 12. And that's going to come out to 2,700. That's your interest. You now need to add that into your account to find your total. So we're going to take the 15,000 that we originally had in the account and we're going to add the 2,700. And so the total amount that you're going to have in the account after the interest is added in is going to be 17,700. Okay, go on to Google Classroom. You're going to be logging into your quizzes. So you'll click on the quizzes link that's in Google Classroom. Please don't forget, your login for quizzes is your first name your first name, the number 2 at gcpsk12.org. Your login, again, it's your first name, then the number 2 at gcpsk12.org. Your password is Lions22. Get logged in. Go to Google Classroom, click on the link, and log into quizzes.